Hello everybody, my name is Suman Dua. I'm a registered migration agent based in Australia. In this video today, I will be explaining you the requirements that are set by South Australia for the nomination for 190 and 491 visa. So with South Australia, to be eligible for their nomination, you need to be onshore and you need to be living in their state. So if you're somebody who's living overseas or you're not living in their state, you won't be eligible for their nomination. Also, you need to have a positive skills assessment in your nominated occupation. So if you're somebody who does not have a positive skills assessment, in that case as well, you won't be eligible for the nomination. You will also need to be under 45 years of age and meet the English requirement for your occupation. You will also need to meet their licensing and registration requirements. You will also need to meet their work experience requirement, which is 20 hours a week post-qualification. However, in some cases, you will be eligible for their waivers if you are a recent graduate or a long-term resident in South Australia or living and working in South Australia. In this nomination program, they have got 3 priority streams. So the first one is Talent and Innovators Program. The second one is the living and working in South Australia, including the long-term residents, and the third one is International Graduate of South Australia. So they've always had the 2 streams which are living and working in South Australia and the International Graduate of South Australia, but they have introduced a new stream which is Talent and Innovators Program. So I will be talking in detail about this stream in this video. So the Talent and Innovators Program has got 4 sub-streams, and all the occupations that are available on South Australia's occupation list are actually available through this stream. So the first stream is the employment stream, the second one is the small business and startup stream, the third one is the high performing graduate stream, and the fourth one is the independent talent stream. The employment stream is available for applicants who are working for businesses in South Australia. So you should be working for a business which is in the priority sector of South Australia. Now these priority sectors are same as the priority sectors for the Global Talent Program. So I will put the priority sectors in the description below. Also, your business that you're working for needs to be running in South Australia for a minimum of 12 months and need to have a turnover of 4 million Australian dollars per year. However, there are some waivers available. If this business is operating in a regional South Australia area, then they may get a waiver for the $4 million turnover, or if they are a startup business, in that case as well, they will get a waiver. As an applicant yourself, you need to meet the high salary requirement, which is $80,000 per year for a full-time employee. Again, you might be eligible for a waiver if you are working for a business which is operating in the outer regional South Australia area, or you are a recent graduate of South Australia. You're also expected to have a proficient English for this stream. And for all these streams under the Talent and Innovators Program, a business case needs to be provided. So a business case will be required from your employer. So the business case needs to be only 2 pages, and they need to explain to the South Australia State Nomination Team that how your skills and qualifications are relevant to the South Australia's economic growth. The second stream, which is for the startup and small business owners. So if you are an applicant who is running a business in South Australia, you may apply under this stream. But to be eligible, you need to be running the business for a minimum of 12 months and you need to be residing in South Australia for a minimum of 24 months. Your business must be able to give you a personal income of the minimum taxable income, which is sitting at $53,900 per year. So the businesses in the priority sectors will be prioritized, and the businesses who employ a minimum of 2 full-time employees will also be prioritized. Please note that the franchise businesses are ineligible for this stream. Self-employed applicants can also apply through this stream. You will also need to provide a business case that how your business will help in the innovation and the economic growth of South Australia. The third stream is for high-performing graduates of South Australia. So you need to have completed at least 50% of your study in South Australia to be called their recent graduate. You also need to be a high-performing graduate with high GPA. Applicants who have studied in health or physical science sector will be prioritized. You will also need to provide 2-page business case that how your skills and qualification will help in South Australia's economic growth. The fourth stream is the independent talent stream. So to be eligible under this stream, you need to have a minimum of 95 points. And if you're somebody who's working in the critical sector, then your application will be prioritized. You also need to have proficient English and relevant work experience to be eligible under this stream. For this stream as well, you will need to provide a business case of 2 pages that how your skills and qualifications will help in South Australia's economic growth. Now we will talk about the second priority stream, which is currently living and working in South Australia. So if you're currently living and working in South Australia, you might also be eligible for some concessions on waivers, but it will depend on your nominated occupation and how long you have been living and working in South Australia, and if you've been living and working in the outer region of South Australia. So under this stream, they further have 3 sub-streams. So if you are living and working in South Australia, if you are living and working in the outer region of South Australia, or if you are a long-term resident of South Australia. If you are currently living and working in South Australia, so for the 491 nomination, you need to be working and living in South Australia for a minimum of 6 months, unless it's something different that is specified for your occupation. And if you want to apply under the 190 visa nomination, you need to be living and working in South Australia for a minimum of 12 months, unless there is something different which is a requirement for your occupation. The second substream, which is living and working in the outer region of South Australia, first of all, they have provided the postcodes which are considered in the outer region of South Australia. So I will put the link in the description for those ones. So if you're somebody who is living and working in the outer region of South Australia, you do not need to be working in your nominated occupation. So as long as you are working in any occupation in the outer regional South Australia area, you may qualify for the 491 visa, and you need to be working and living in the outer regional South Australia for a minimum of 12 months. In cases where you actually don't meet the published requirement, but you are living and working in the outer region of South Australia, you may still apply and they will consider your application on case-to-case basis. So the third stream, which is available for the long-term residents of South Australia. So again, under this stream, there are 2 sub-streams. So the first one is for applicants who have been South Australia's recent graduates or the partners. And the second sub-stream is for applicants who are on any temporary visa in South Australia. So for the first sub-stream, which is for the international graduates of South Australia, you or your partner has to be a former graduate of South Australia. And if you are somebody who's living continuously in South Australia from last 3 years, you will be eligible for the 491 nomination. And if you're somebody who's living continuously for 5 years in South Australia, you may be eligible for the 190 nomination. You also need to meet their work experience requirement. You need to be working for a minimum of 12 months in South Australia. However, the work experience can be 20 hours a week, and also it does not need to be in your nominated occupation. So as long as you're working in any skilled occupation for last 12 months for a minimum of 20 hours, you may qualify for the nomination. So the second substream, which is for other temporary residents in South Australia. So these exclude the applicants who are on the graduate visas or any other visas. So the second substream is for other temporary visa holders who are residing in South Australia. So to be eligible under this stream, you need to be living in South Australia for a minimum of 7 years. Also, you need to be working in any skilled occupation from last 12 months. The work experience can be 20 hours a week. However, these applicants will only be eligible for the 491 nomination. The third priority stream, which is for international graduates of South Australia. So South Australia has always had this stream, and they have always given priority to their international graduates who have studied in South Australia. To meet the requirements for this stream, you need to have studied in South Australia, and you need to have completed at least 50% of your studies in South Australia. So if you are the bachelor's or higher degree graduate, then you need to only meet their work experience requirements with a minimum of 3 months work experience. However, you might be eligible to get the waiver for the work experience requirement if you are a high performing graduate. So if you're somebody who's got a GPA of 6 or above, or if you've done a master's in research or PhD in their state. They may also require you to have proficient English if you want to get waiver for the work experience requirement. So now I'm actually going to show you on my computer how you can read and understand South Australia's nomination requirements for both visa subclasses 190 and 491. So I just went to their website and I went to occupation list, and I am looking for ICT business analyst. So as you can see that this occupation is not actually available for offshore applicants. Now it says for this occupation you need competent English and you need minimum of 65 points, and this occupation is actually available for both visa subclasses 190 and 491, and it is a skill level 1 occupation. So for 190, so you need to be currently working in your nominated or closely related occupation for the last 24 months in Greater Adelaide or the last 12 months in the outer regional South Australia if you want to apply under 190. If you want to apply under 491 visa, then you need to be working in your nominated or closely related occupation for the last 12 months in Greater Adelaide or the last 6 months in outer regional South Australia. Now occupations with the same skills assessing authority are closely related occupations. Now this occupation is actually also available through the Talent and Innovators program. So you know how I explained to you about the 4 streams that are available under this. So under the Talent and Innovators program, all occupations are available which are on the South Australia's occupation list. So there are also waivers and exemptions that are available for the long-term residents. So that's also something that I have explained to you before, what kind of waivers are available. And there are also waivers available for applicants who are living and working in the outer regional South Australia. If you are their international graduate, so they do have a separate column for that one. So as long as you have completed a bachelor's or a higher education in South Australia and you are currently working in your nominated occupation for a minimum of 3 months in South Australia, you will meet the requirements. In some cases, you're also eligible for a waiver for the work experience requirement. For example, you've done a PhD or master's by research, and you also have a proficient English overall or higher, or if you've got a GPA of 6 or higher and you also have proficient English overall or higher, if you've done a first class honours in a dedicated honours year and proficient English overall or higher, or GPA of 6 or higher in a bachelor's degree and proficient English overall or higher, in that case as well you will be eligible for their nomination. Now for South Australia, this occupation, they've got another column as well. So if you've got proficient English, 65 points, this is available for 491 as long as you have completed a bachelor's degree or higher qualification. No work experience required for the following SA graduates if applying through the Talent and Innovators program. So if you've got a GPA of 5 to 5.99 in a master's by coursework degree and proficient English overall or higher, GPA of 5 to 5.99 in a bachelor's degree and proficient English overall or higher, in that case as well, they may still nominate you for the 491 visa. So this is how you read and understand the South Australia's nomination requirements. But if you've got any questions regarding South Australia's nomination, please get in touch with us. To stay updated about Australia's immigration, make sure that you subscribe to our channel.